Episode 8. This
What's
is
going
the
on, people?
Dandin and RG podcast. This is Dandin.
It's RJ Machismo. What's going on, y'all?
And tonight we got our special guest. We got our friend, our good homie from the DMV, now currently in NorCal. We got the homie Justin Gonzaga. And how you doing today, man?
Man, I'm good, man. Good, safe, healthy. I couldn't ask for more.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so a little bit of background. Like we actually know Justin through high school.
Yeah.
He's
Alton Hill, baby.
Those cats, man. Yeah. So
Something in the water.
yeah,
yes, sir. It's something in the water, man.
shoes are in the water, sneakers in the
Yeah.
water, that's for sure. That's how we all got together, man.
Yeah.
We got pepper protect so don't leak through the shoe or whatever. But we good. We're still in the water.
We're good.
Exactly,
yes, sir.
exactly. So like I said, Justin's a good homie, man. Like, I knew like he went to school in Berkeley. It was his passion to move out here from the DMV to NorCal. Now he's doing great things for himself, and we'd love to hear more about that. So Rel's gonna kick off. We had a new segment here.
New segment first.
You want to talk about it, Rel?
Yeah, let's go. What was in your feet this week, man? That's the new segment. Anything.
So,
go ahead, Justin.
All day, every day, I gotta have the chinelas on deck.
Yeah, of course.
The slippers, the
slides, man.
The Benassi, triple black Benassi from the outlet.
Yes, sir.
Had to do it because my old ones, actually have them here. I have like some free style ones.
Oh,
the rubber, I think it's from one time I moved, the rubber just permanently is dipped like this.
Yeah.
So I had to get like a new pair. So I'm good now. But other than the slides, here's what I wore. On Monday, did a Costco, Whole Foods, TJ's run. In the foams.
Hey, the foam closet. Had to do it, bro.
Had to. We wear our shoes over here.
Hey, what year are those, Justin?
Which year is that?
This is the one. What was it? 20.
Look at your size tag. Look at your size tag.
Yeah.
Look at the production date.
Yeah, it's 20. The production date is 2010.
Yeah, brown box. The brown box.
This one came out a little bit after that because it was like around All-Star Weekend time.
Yeah, 2011.
Because I bought this and my Kobe 6s here.
With the containers. Yes, sir.
Ooh, All-Stars.
I got these on the same day at House of Hoops in the Beverly Center in LA.
Wow.
So there's that. I work out. I do weightlifting like 5 days a week, and I do it in these. So
those are OGs, man.
Yeah.
I remember having those. Yeah, the Flyknit Lunars.
Yeah, Flyknit Lunar ones.
Yeah.
This is actually classic, this is a harder to find colorway. This was a Nike Town or exclusive.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you couldn't get these. I found these at the Beverly Hills shop in LA. The shoe that I wear the most though during quarantine, and this one is a bit different. This is my cycling shoe.
Nice.
This is from a company called Physique. They're based in Europe. The really cool thing too is that they have a boa kind of ratchet.
Nice.
They have a little custom
tighten it up and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Okay.
So no laces necessary. There's a little Velcro strap too for a little bit more protection. It has tread so I can walk on it, but these clip to my pedal, so I have really good power and efficiency. And another curveball, I dance too. I'm part of a semi-pro Latin dance team. And although we don't have any places to perform, we are still practicing. And what I practice in are these.
Hey,
there you go, man.
These are Latin dance shoes. So, they have a 1.5-inch heel that gives you a better line, gives you better posture. The bottom is suede, so you can slide on the dance floor. And this is from a really great company. They're high up there when it comes to dance shoes. It's called Super Dance. These are like $200. Like, they are no joke, but patent leather and a little bit of stingray for a nice little flair. But I love these things. I've had a lot of dance shoes, and this is definitely my favorite.
Man, that's man. We definitely want to hear more about that.
That's pretty cool.
So how about you, Rel? What was on your feet this week?
Man, the whole week, man, I was just on my Benassi's, man, to be honest with you. Yeah, I haven't, I'll go out here and take pictures and stuff like that. But lately, man, I've just been chilling, man, just Benassi's. But, I'm going to start wearing my shoes again, take more pictures and stuff like that, man. So to be honest, just the whole Benassi's just the whole week, literally.
Wow. Well, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Well,
I got some heat coming out though. So, just stay tuned for the pictures, so.
yeah, we definitely want to, like I said, show more like sneaker content, like in our podcast, because we have a YouTube page too. Yeah, so for me too, just like the fellas, I also wore Benassi's at home.
Hey.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Benassi's is just like A1,
Absolutely.
And then like when I go out on grocery run, I just wore like Air Max 90 like infrareds. So those are my beater joints.
And those are coming out this year.
Again, right?
Again.
For like what, the 100th time, 10th time?
I don't know. That's probably like
Yeah. So
and the Neo 95. So that should be
sheesh.
I'm waiting on those to come out. So
yeah.
They always come back out. So.
Oh yeah.
Always. Anytime
Always.
the 90s come out, the 95 Neons come out. So every time.
Yeah.
So that's cool to hear, Justin, man. I didn't even know you're into that dance stuff, man. So
Yeah,
just tell us more about yourself, man.
All right. So I'm a son of Filipino immigrants. I was born in Brooklyn. I lived there for 3 years. Then I moved to the DMV. My dad, he got a job at Georgetown at the time, Georgetown Hospital. So we moved down there, and I lived in Fort Washington. If anyone who's from the area knows Potomac Knolls. Our house was one of the first 13 houses in that neighborhood. We've been there for a minute. My parents and my grandma still lived there. But I went to Oxon Hill High School. And then after I graduated in 2006, had the really great opportunity to go to UC Berkeley. So for those who don't know, that's the University of California in Berkeley, California, which is we're adjacent to Oakland, literally right next to Oakland, across the bay from San Francisco, literally from the campus.
Right.
If you pick the right spot, you can actually see the Golden Gate Bridge. So I went to UC Berkeley. I was there for 4 years, graduated, made some really great memories. I grew as a person for sure, just being in a completely different area from the DMV. And then just 2 weeks after I graduated, I moved to LA. I was in LA for 5 years. I was working in advertising. I was working in an ad agency. So for those who aren't familiar, an ad agency is a company that works with a bigger company who's a client, like say a Nike, or in my case, I worked on accounts like Call of Duty. So I worked on Call of Duty for a couple of years.
Oh wow!
Which game was that? Or which?
I worked on the DLC for Modern Warfare 3. I worked on all of Black Ops 2.
Wow.
I worked on all of Call of Duty Ghosts. I worked on all of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare.
Okay, all right.
And I left right as we were planning for Black Ops 3.
Black Ops 3.
And then I even had when I first joined the company was called 72 and Sunny. So you might know of it if you're in the industry. But I actually had the opportunity too to work on NBA 2K just for a little bit.
Oh
wow! I didn't know. Wow.
Yeah.
What did you do there?
So my position at ad agencies is what's called account management. So what you do is you're kind of the liaison between the agency, who we house creative strategists or brand strategists to understand where do we want to take our client's brand? How can we help achieve those goals? We work with creatives who actually write, design ad campaigns, marketing campaigns for our clients. And then I'm on the account management side where I help manage those folks, but I also manage our client too. And I manage that relationship. I'm in charge of that relationship along with other people on my team. So it was a really quick, swift introduction to advertising working on NBA 2K. I didn't work on it for too long, unfortunately, but it was a really, really great time. I love sports culture. I'll be first to admit though, I am not y'all go like super deep into it. Like
Hardcore.
I do appreciate sports, and you
Yeah.
know I do follow sports, but not as hard as y'all. But like I really had some really great times working with really great folks. I got to meet Russell Westbrook on a shoot. It was like Russell Westbrook, Andre Iguodala, Rajon Rondo, Derrick Rose, David Lee, and oh man, there was like one other player, but it was a really great introduction to advertising. And then in 2015, I moved to San Francisco. I moved to the Bay. I moved to Oakland. I lived in Oakland, but my work was with an agency in San Francisco. I worked on Xbox campaigns, and then I was there for a year. Then I moved to the client side. Then since 2016, I've been working at Google. I've been working on a variety of different Google products, from Google Fiber, which is the internet service that Google provides some cities. Then I worked on Chromebook for a number of years, working on our marketing campaigns there. And then just recently, I'm working on partner marketing, which is, working like on behalf of Google with other brands like a Samsung if they want to do a partnership, or even like a BMW if they're doing Android Auto, working with those kinds of brands and partnerships. With Google, I help manage those kinds of relationships and help guide where our Google Voice is there.
Okay.
But outside of work, man, like I cycle, I dance, I do a lot of Latin dancing. I have done so for a long time now, and I'm a walking oxymoron. I'm a Filipino vegan.
Oh, you're a vegan.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah, you think about like Filipinos, and you're like,
how is that like for you, man?
You know what, man? Like with our people, we do have a history of diabetes.
Yeah.
We have a history of high blood pressure.
Right.
And in some cases cancer. Like my parents, they both have diabetes. My mom has cancer, and it really made me take a look at myself, and it's really great because I have my girlfriend, she's vegan as well.
Okay.
I really need to take a look inside, like how can I better my health and make sure that I don't follow that same path. And and it's been great, dude. It was weird at first, for sure, but you'd be surprised, like some really good Filipino food could still be cooked in a vegan way. There's a really great vegan Filipino restaurant here in the Bay Area called Nick's Kitchen.
Wow.
You gotta hit that up. Oh my.
That's pretty surprising.
Vegan lechon kawali. Like you're like, what? It has a crispy layer, a fatty layer, a meaty layer. It's but it's great though. It's been awesome.
Wow, that must be like tofu, right? It gotta be tofu.
It's like a soy protein, but she makes it in house. It's she's a magician.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Was it challenging for you from the beginning when you started, going vegan?
Definitely. I mean, like, being Filipino, like pork is in our blood.
Yeah.
And we eat pork's blood, like
chicken.
Like it's all like I remember my mom or my grandma would be like, oh, do you want like what you call lumpia gulay? I was like, all right, yeah, cool. And you open that thing up, it has ground beef and shrimp, but it just has more vegetables, like, you know what I'm saying? But the transition was really great. That I have a girlfriend that supports it. She's been vegan for a number of years. I work at Google too, where there's
sure there's a whole rack of people there too.
So if anyone has watched the internship, a lot of those things are real. Like we get free food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner when we're not quarantined, and there's vegan options every day. So it makes it really easy that you could pick the vegan option, and it tastes good. Like I think it's just a matter of also finding out what tastes good. Like I'm still no salad guy, but you could cook vegetables and they could taste really amazing. You'd be surprised what you could do with jackfruit. They could taste like pulled pork. I'm not kidding.
I'll look into that one of these days.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've never heard like that type of like vegan type of
especially
food.
Especially that lechon kawali one. That's mind blowing right there.
For real. It's really great too. Like whenever I go home and visit the DMV, my parents will cook vegan for me.
Oh,
So
that's pretty cool. Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So with that transition, man, for you, moving from Maryland to California, I mean, can you tell us more about like what the transition is? Because I mean, there's plenty of people that I know that wants to move to California. So if you could share that with us, with your personal experience, how does that like for you, that transition?
It's a culture shock, like you jump into the West Coast, and I think, for folks like us from the DMV, where we sometimes visit Cali, it's it's like such a different vibe, and it's true in a day-to-day life. I mean, like the pace is different depending on the
Right.
city that you live in. Year round, it's one season,
Right.
good. Like
Yeah.
that's the season. Like
Yeah.
good weather is the
Good. See,
year
yeah.
round season. Food is all on another level.
Of
Like,
course.
I mean, what I'm saying, like poke, ramen, froyo, all on that stuff before the DMV. Mexican food is amazing. Burmese food is amazing. I never had Burmese food until I moved to the California. Filipino food too. I mean, like I go to a restaurant and here in California, eat Filipino food. You're like, yo, this is better than home. Like this is legit.
Yeah, it's better
Um,
than what we have around here. I'm pretty
Yeah.
for
sure.
sure. I think what's also interesting about Cali is that depending on where you are,
Yeah.
but I do see it more often. There's a higher focus on small businesses. I think coming from the DMV, like there definitely are small businesses. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's also because like there's a lot of suburbs, there's a lot of chain stuff,
There is.
and
Yeah.
when you come here, like there's a lot of like mom and pop shops and a lot
Yeah.
of with a ton of history, and it's really great and enriching for the culture because those kind of small businesses, they share their passions with the rest of the community, and the community benefits from that. The industries are different here in the West Coast, so depending on the kind of job you want, right? A lot of people in the DMV as transplants because they want to work in government, they want to
Yeah.
work in politics.
Yeah. Yeah.
You find people in the West Coast who want to work in entertainment, who want to work in tech, who want to try a startup, or who are into fashion.
Yeah.
Um,
That's true.
Traffic is on another level. Like, yeah, like look, I get it. I know,
Yeah.
like traffic on 95 could be crazy. Traffic on the Beltway can be crazy. You don't know traffic until you lived in LA.
Oh,
Like,
well, yeah.
for real. I remember
Yeah.
sometimes where I'd be driving home at 2 o'clock in the morning and there's still traffic. I'm like,
That's
how?
crazy.
And there's not even any construction. Like,
There's
how the
traffic at
hell
9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
it makes no sense.
Yeah.
It's expensive to live, depending on where you're at. Unless you're like in Central Valley or like you're like deep in, it's expensive to live. I mean, like I live in the Bay Area, which is one of the most expensive areas to live in the
Right.
entire world. Like it is
Yeah.
no joke. And that's why I think it's important when people do come to Cali, is just like they come with a plan and know why they want to go, and they have a
Right.
plan of how they're gonna get there. And also being in the West Coast, it's huge. It's really big. Like the DMV, it does feel like nice, kind of small pocketed. Like
Yeah.
everyone on like Messina, like in
Messina's right.
Messina Drive. Sort of got like everyone that
Yeah, everybody
I
knows everybody. Yeah.
was living on that
Yeah.
street, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like it's not necessarily like that, depending on the area that you're in Cali.
Yeah.
It could be really big. So I think the other kind of culture shock too is because it's so big, you have to find groups and people to
Right.
make that large area feel smaller and feel like
Yeah.
a tight community. Otherwise, you're gonna get lost in the sauce. You're gonna feel like just another number out here in Cali. But it's an amazing place to be. It's an
Yeah.
amazing state. I can't complain too much other than the price, but it's pretty dope.
I'm pretty sure, man. That's a great experience right there. So
Yeah, that's great, man. I'm glad that you made that nice transition from Maryland to California. I can speak for Justin too. Like it's not
Yeah.
it's tough. You can't just there's a lot of adjustments that you have to. One is like the time difference.
time differential.
Time difference, yeah. Like
Yeah.
there's so much for like based on my experience, there's so much to do here compare like back home in the DMV. You know, you go to Annandale, it's like that's like the last place that you can hang out with. You know what I mean? To get some boba, like at 11
Yeah.
o'clock,
Yeah.
and then they close maybe like 12 or 1. Here they got like boba places like 24 hours. You know, at your convenience. So it's great. Like I said, for anyone that wants to, wants to try it out here, you definitely, keep an open mind. You just like try it out.
Just take a chance, man. Just
Yeah,
take
take a chance.
Do
Yeah.
it.
And no, Justin's he's the living proof.
Yeah.
I mean, like I worked hard to just get here, you know.
Oh yeah.
That too.
It's funny you mentioned like the boba and the Annandale tip, like, because like yeah, like there are like 24-hour boba spots, and I think when you go to the DMV, it is kind of limited. Then when you come to Cali, like depending on where you are, like K-Town, if you know the right people, you can find yourself a 24-hour bar, a 24-hour
I'm
party.
pretty sure, yeah.
I remember like I went to this one party. It was an underground party, and it was so weird. Like you had to like know about it. It was super like underground. There was like it was like underneath a copy shop.
Oh shit.
And and then you get in, and then it's like they're only serving like Kirkland tequila and Tecate, and the DJ is like used to date Kanye West. You're like, oh, like what the? Where the hell am I? But it's a great vibe. But it can be challenging though. Like for anyone who does want to move to California, it can be challenging. You just have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, because it will be. This is especially if you don't know anybody. Yeah. It's gonna feel like you don't know anybody, even when you know some folks in the area. But that kind of uncomfort is where you're gonna find a lot of growth. So yeah.
That's good, man. It's good to hear. So tell us about your current position at Google. And I know it's been in the news too with working at Google. How do you feel about working at home until mid 2021?
Yeah. Like just until just recently, I just got on to some new assignments. So I'm working on partner marketing, which I mentioned earlier. I'm going to do some comms marketing too, which is going to be like Google Duo, Google Meet, Google, all those different kind of communications apps that we have. And my job as a, brand manager is to really understand, lead, and protect the brand of Google in whatever facets those are. When it comes to partnership relations and making sure that they understand what the brand is about, making sure that their assets are correct. Like, if it's going to be like a retail fixture, making sure that, reviewing it from a brand standpoint, making sure all the verbiage represents what we're trying to say from a brand perspective. I would also work on commercials and work with agencies to make sure that we shoot the right things that we need in order to accomplish our brand objectives. If it's like awareness, if it's if it's perception, if it's preference, et cetera, et cetera. As far as like working at Google, and us working at home, working from home till July 2021, like I'm an extrovert, and I get energy from people around me, right? So it's a bummer that I don't get to see my colleagues for so long, so many more months, like almost a year. But Google is definitely doing the right thing. Like public health and the health of my colleagues, the health of their families is first and foremost. And we at Google, like we've been able to adapt to the work from home model for a long time. Like a lot of people do like work from home already, like before the pandemic. We all have tools in order to do so. There was an adjustment being made when everyone had to do it. Mm-hmm. But I think we're well suited to make sure that we face these kind of business challenges with the pandemic, but do them in stride because of the tools that we have and the support that we have through our leadership. So it's not a bad thing. I think it's for the greater good. But I miss people. I go,
yeah.
I get the free food.
Yeah,
true. Like free food is good.
Free food
man.
is amazing. Oh my, they have free Filipino food sometimes too.
Oh
Wow.
Yeah, man.
That's great, man. Yeah, I'm glad. Like, Google is they care about the people. They put them, people's health and with their well being. That's good because I know you guys are one of the first companies that did that before the whole pandemic thing like shut down. So yeah, that's great. So a good question for me to ask for this one.
shit.
You
There
have
it is.
a very passionate thing for sneakers. I can see in the background here. So tell us more how you got into it.
Oh man, it's I think first and foremost it's just living in the DMV. If if you're in the DMV, even if you're not into shoes, like you know about it, all of like it's interlaced in the culture. It's in the water.
In the water.
It's in the
Like
water.
all the like the a shoe culture. Um, like the people that you knew around you, your classmates, your friends, who were fresh, were always laced up. They always had the fresh kicks. Like,
Yeah.
I remember even sometimes, folks would buy a pair of shoes and sit on it for like a full
Long ass time.
2 seasons,
Yeah.
just so everyone dogs their pair. And then you come out 2 seasons afterwards, like you
With a
break
fresh
them out.
joint.
You're like, no, you got those too. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
But
Who would have
that's
thought?
I know. But like it's part DMV, it's part music. Like, I grew up, watching The Box. On what channel was that? Like 19B.
19.
Something like the
Yep.
19B.
I grew up watching that. I grew up watching BET. I grew up watching MTV, and watching a lot of these music videos and idolizing them and seeing their fits. So you see people like artists like Nelly, obviously with Air Force Ones, but he was like fresh before that. I remember seeing him wear a pair of 17s in the NSYNC Girlfriend video. I remember seeing Ludacris wearing the white and red 17s in the Move Bitch video.
Get out the way.
Yeah.
Wow. I gotta watch that video again, man.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, even like Dipset too. Like just taking like kind of cues from their style, albeit like everyone is in that age, right? Where your shirt was too young if that's above your elbow. Now you had to have it below. Had to have it below.
Had to be below.
Rockefeller, like Jay-Z, I would always look at his style. I try to emulate his outfits. Remember, I tried to emulate one of his outfits from his Unplugged that he did on MTV with like.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, the Jesus shirt
like
on.
Drunken. Yeah, it was like it was super dope. But at 112, they wore the Concord, and it's over now. Yeah, it was a lot of it too. Was just like influenced by the style and music icons I looked up to, and then my kuya Neil. He actually lives in LA. And he was the one who got me my first pair of Air Jordans, right? I had a pair of Team Jordans before then. I had a pair of Jumpman Pro Quicks.
Hey,
Eddie Jones.
Eddie Jones.
Yeah. I had a pair of that. I had that pair, and I had a pair of Pippin 2s, the white and red Pippin 2s. Like those are my like starter shoes.
Yeah.
Like that was like the pre, getting into sneakers.
Yeah.
My Kuya Neil. And for those who don't know, kuya is a term that we use in the Filipino culture to refer to, like an older male in your family.
Big bro,
older cuz.
Yeah.
But like he laced me up with a pair of Jordan 11 Zen lows. So those are like all white ones. I think those were also a Nike Town exclusive, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yep.
So he got me a pair of those. It's funny, like my cousins remember it. I fell asleep with that shoe the first night I got it. I was like, I was like looking at it, and I literally fell asleep with the shoe like next to my face because I was so nice to have that shoe.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man.
Look at this carbon fiber. It smells so good.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Yeah, dude. And then I got deeper into it through things like Nike Talk, right? Shout out Isaac Hazel, man. Like that episode was amazing. And but no, like I learned about it through Nike Talk. That was right around the era where the 17s were out, and then they just leaked the 18s, right? Like they were the first ones to. I think it was like a silhouette at first, and then
Yeah.
they leaked the photo of the 18s. That was when I really like got super into it. Blogs, obviously, like Hypebeast back in the day, Freshness Mag, a lot of those things. East Bay,
These big.
everyone
Gotta
from
get those
school.
magazines. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Catalog.
I didn't know the Flight Closet, the Flight Closet threes came in this many colors. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's the team.
They had the team joints. Yeah.
Team
Yeah.
basketball, yeah,
Yeah.
TVs.
Yeah.
And then Slam magazine too. Like that's how I would look in like with the upcoming releases. I'd always go to like Safeway and like my go to Safeway, and my mom was like, all right, I'm gonna go grocery. She's like, okay, I'm gonna go to magazines. So I'd like look up Nintendo Power. I'd look up video game magazines, but I always pick up Slam magazine. I looked
Slam
at the
magazine.
back. I was like, oh, what's coming out? What's coming out?
Upcoming release.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's been nothing but love. I mean, like, I know I talked about it with y'all like offline, but every shoe has a memory, and those memories I cherish a lot. And
Yeah.
it's memories of being fresh. It's memories of the hunt. It's memories of people around you and your loved ones, like, and what that means to you. So that passion for sneakers runs super deep with me.
Yeah.
And that's why I was so stoked to see y'all OGs put this thing out. I'm like, oh hell yeah, we about to all right.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's why we, like I said, it's just we're privileged that you're able to join us in this this episode. It really means a lot to us because it also makes us want to hear your stories too, which is like the main point of our podcast. So a good segue with this one, Justin. What are your favorite pairs of sneakers that you've owned, and are there any shoes that you're currently looking for?
Okay. Let's start off with my favorite silhouettes. So I got a couple of examples. So my favorite silhouette right now, and for the past couple of years, is actually the Spiridon. So here's the Para. Here's the Para pair.
Yeah.
One of the very few, well, the only raffle that I've won on End Clothing. I got these.
Crazy.
When I saw the pack, right, this one and the Air Max one, I was like, yo, Spiridons for sure. I'm gonna put my name in for the Air Max ones too, but I want the Spiridons. I need to have the Spiridons in my life, and I have about 7 pairs. I think 7 pairs now of Spiridons, all different colors, some different exclusives too. So there's that. The Chuck Taylor 70. So it's different, right, from a regular Chuck Taylor. I got a pair over here.
Those are like the kind of like the Jack Purcells.
Yeah, well, exactly. They're like more stylish, right, than a regular Chuck Taylor. It's a different shape because the midsole is thicker.
Yeah.
The insole is more cushy on the 70, and the 70 is just like, it's a classic, man. You could, like, this is a pair from Offspring. So it's a European brand. They did a collab. When I saw photos of this come out, I was like, oh, I have to have this. I don't necessarily buy for the hype. I buy what I like.
Buy what you like.
That's how it's supposed to be.
That's the key. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So and yeah, for those who don't know, like Comme des Garçons, every 7 that's a 70. So reference point. Jordan 1s. So Royals. Interesting story about these. Rael, remember, he wore these in high school, and I saw him wear it, and I think ever since I saw him wear it, I fell in love with the shoe. There's just something
about, man, influencer, bro.
It's the color. I think it's the shade of blue that is so nice with this. So I wasn't fortunate to get a pair back then, but when it released a couple of years ago, I must have gone to like 3 or 4 different Cheiks.
Wow.
And I went obviously on Nike, and I also put in my raffle for a local store here, Bows and Arrows in Berkeley, to get the shoe. I actually ended up getting 2 pairs. I sold one. I sold it right after. I wasn't trying to flip it for a lot of money.
Right, yeah.
Make sure that someone else is able to get it.
Yeah.
So there's that. I'm actually a really big fan of Air Force Ones.
Those
So
are IDs, the
these are
Nike
IE.
by Use.
Yeah, Nike
Yeah,
Bayous.
yeah,
They kept going on and off with this option for snakeskin,
yeah.
but one of my shoes is actually really good segues. Like one of the shoes that I love, one of my favorites, and I'm still trying to look for is a pair of Air Max One Atmos, and the price is just like it keeps going up and up and up. But when I saw this Nike ID and I was looking at the colors, like I could make a similar looking shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
People
had
were doing that with the Dior ones too. They were
Dior
doing.
ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a pair of the Zoom, the Undiors,
Yeah.
the 4-man Diors. But they were doing similar things like with to make it look like the Supreme Dunk.
The Unions. I made one myself with the Unions. So.
I saw Rael got the Chicago. Did you mean the Chicago ones, right?
The black toes.
Yep.
Nice. I made a shoe like that's in my Nike locker.
Yeah.
One of those. But yeah, I actually like Air Force Ones a lot. I love what Nike does periodically whenever it celebrates like another 5-year anniversary.
Right.
They do some really special things. So you'll see a couple more pairs of that a little later. Other shoes I'm looking for, actually got one of the pairs yesterday that I've been looking for, which is a UK exclusive Spiridon Moon Particle. My girlfriend bought it for me for my birthday, so that's coming from the UK.
That's love, bro. That is
for real. I showed her the shoe, and I was like, "Yo, what do you think about this? Like, it's under retail. Like, I could get it right now." She's like, "Unless you want it for your birthday." I'm like,
"Ooh,
really? Oh yeah."
You're like, "Yeah, you sure?"
That is a keeper.
Yeah, she got me the Rookie of the Year ones as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
I saw those at Shoe Palace. I was like, you know what? It's like $99. I'm gonna just wait. Who thought that them things were like $400, $500 now, bro?
What I love about them is it reminds me of a pair that I used to wear, the Escape pack, if you guys remember that.
Yeah.
So I had a pair of Escape Air Force One lows, and I wore the hell out of those shoes. But it's a similar kind of colorway with like a lighter tan, obviously. But I was like, yo, I have to have these shoes. A shoe that I was looking for a while, but I just got recently, I'll show y'all, is the Japan exclusive Loop Wheeler Air Max 95s.
Whoa.
So for anyone who isn't familiar with Loop Wheeler is a Japanese brand. They specialize in sweatshirts. And they did a collab with Nike. Their first collab with Nike was years ago. They made a special sweatshirt, a Nike Loop Wheeler sweatshirt. And the whole thing about that, I think, is like they can only make 12 a day because the quality is so high.
Dang.
And ever since then, they were on my map. I had an opportunity to visit Japan a couple of times, and I visited that store. I got a sweatshirt for my boss. He really wanted one. But when I saw this shoe, I love the colors. I do love blue and orange and black together. And I saw this pair. I'm like, yo, I have to have these. Any other pairs I'm looking for? I am still looking for, let's see here. I'm looking for a black cement 3 in my size at a good price.
Get those on
you didn't get those?
Easy to get, man.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
I've had a couple 3s in the past. I've had True Blue 3s. I've had Fire Red 3s. And I remember when I had my True Blue 3s, those were when it was an EU exclusive. I wore it twice, and the paint on the midsole cracked. I was like, fuck this, man.
Yeah.
Like, I am not buying a pair of 3s anymore. Yeah, and I know, like, they did the whole remastered thing. It's like, man, I don't fucking believe it. And if anyone who knows, that midsole is also the hardest thing to clean. I used to have a pair of white cements back in the day, and they got yellowed really quickly. So then I had to paint over it with, like, white paint and mix it with acetone, tips from Nike Talk, just trying to get it okay.
Yeah, the Angeles leather paint.
Yeah. That was before then, though, dude. Like, no one knew about the Angeles leather paint. But like, I remember I saw that and I was like, man, I don't trust 3s. I can't get a 3. And then I kept looking at reviews and I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, it's holding up. It's really holding up. So I know I didn't cop when I should have. But I am looking for a pair of 2018 Nike Air Joints. I am still looking for a pair of black and red Jordan 1s.
Jeez.
You didn't get those either? Like, twice.
I know.
2016, 2013, man.
I think that was like the thing too. The thing with me and shoes too is like I won't go over my means. I think that's something that my parents always taught
Of
me.
course,
Right?
of
Like
course.
I really try to make sure that I pay all my bills 100% on time. I want to have a good credit score. You know, I want to own a house, you know, someday,
Yeah.
and all
You
that
will.
stuff is
You will.
important. So, you know, if I don't have the money and the means, I won't get it. But it's not to say that I didn't try. I definitely
Right.
tried.
Yeah.
Caught that L
Yeah.
super hard on sneakers. Like I
Yeah.
remember it was like there's the band joint, like 23 and
Yeah.
the one or not 23, the
31s. The
31,
31s.
31s,
Yeah.
yeah. And I was like, oh, like I
Yeah.
cannot get this shoe for the life of me. So, but yeah, like those are the ones on my radar. So anyone listening, if y'all got
Tell
10
them
and
what
a
your
half,
size. 10 and a
10 and a
half.
half, and y'all got it in some good condition, hit me up. We could talk at Justgphotography. Talk.
We definitely can plug you in, man. Like I said,
Hey,
Yeah, man.
Hey.
help our guy out.
So in that case, man, you know, we're halfway to the year too. Also, what you got any like, you know, looking forward to like with the new releases?
Oh, you know, like I was just thinking about this the other day too. Actually, so I saw a pair of Jordan 1 lows in a clay gray. So that's a women's only, but it takes back from like hints from Nike Lab in
Yeah.
New York. So when they had the bespoke program still, you had to size your shoes. So they had like a bunch of shoes in that store where you could try it on. But they would actually sometimes like sell them, or like some people would actually be able to get them. But it's in this really nice creamy gray, neutral gray. And I just love that color blocking of just all gray upper and white sole. You can match it with anything. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to the what was it? The solar orange, Jordan 3s. Also women's.
Yeah, I think it's a woman's color. Yeah.
Women's are getting like and props to Jordan brand because they're finally they're better understanding their audience and knowing their target is bigger than they thought it was. They're really giving them some really great colors. I mean, like the satin reds that came out recently were pretty fire.
Off-white 4s.
Those were
Off-white
sick.
4s. Yeah, they've been lacing them up.
The tie-dye ones.
Tie-dye ones. Oregon 5s.
Yeah.
I like that shoe. I know it's a bit polarizing with all that green.
No, that's a sick shoe, to be honest with you.
It
I
is.
even like the Michigan ones. The Michigan ones are tight.
Michigans are tight.
Yeah.
I wish that they would release
They put the logo.
the
They
logo,
put the logo too. Yeah.
or they picked the Fab 5 version. The Fab 5,
Yeah.
that's up there is one of my favorite shoes. Like I think the color blocking of the Fab 5 is amazing. How they make that net black. Like those are I think some of the shoes like kind of on the horizon that I'm looking forward to. But yeah, like there's always another pair, right? And that's the thing with Nike. Like they'll do a shock drop, or you know, like oh, in a week we're releasing this. Like I gotta look at my wallet real quick. Like I just gotta make sure. Like
Yeah, just pay my bill, man. You know, and all this stuff starts coming out. You're like, oh shit.
It doesn't make it easy when you're into cycling. When that thing is also money. It's a money suck.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah.
Yeah, man. So shying away from that hobby, going to another hobby. I see that you're into photography and stuff. Like myself, how is it? You know, how important is it like capturing moments when you're taking these photos, man? Like, what's your vision when it comes to like taking these photos?
Yeah. I mean, like a little backstory about photography. Yeah. It relates to shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the root of everything, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
So, granted, I wouldn't post on Nike Talk a lot. I would always go though, and the forum that I would frequent the most is actually the general forum. And the general forum, it has so many different threads, but it had a photography thread. It had many photography threads. Don't get me wrong. It had like volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever. But the photography thread, I caught on to that in high school, and I looked at some of the images that the users were putting out there. I was like, whoa, like that's really cool. So then I took. We had a digital camera that came for free with our printer. It was probably 1.5 megapixels at the time. And I started experimenting with some of these different angles. And then I eventually got a phone with a camera in it, a Sony Ericsson K750i. Got that thing from the Philippines.
Yeah.
They didn't sell that in the States. That was 2 megapixels. And then I ended up getting like a a DSLR as my graduation gift,
Right.
a Rebel XT. So that's really, really old in SLR now. But I really found myself having a great passion for photography because it does capture these amazing moments, and these moments are all about timing, right? So
Right. Yeah.
if you have a subject in front of you, it's about timing the right expression, right, or the right body posture to making sure that it's capturing what you're intending it to be as the photographer. If you're shooting sports, which is something that I used to shoot a lot when I was in college, I was a staff photographer for the Berkeley newspaper. It's all about timing the ball, timing the action, anticipating the action. One of the hardest sports to shoot is, I think, swimming and tennis, and
Tennis.
even
Wow.
and baseball. Like
Yeah.
those are all high velocity sports, right? So
Yeah.
swimming, you have to time when the stroke is coming through. When is the water not blocking the face? When is the arm up?
Yeah.
And making sure that you mark in your notes who's in which lane. So then when you go back to the staff, you could say like, oh, this is a photo of so and so. This is a photo of so and so. Or tennis, anticipating when the ball is going to be in the frame as the racket's about to hit it. That's such a hard thing to do. Baseball, depending on the angle that you do,
Right.
like you don't want it just here. You want that ball coming off the
Coming
finger.
out the finger. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that it's about anticipation
Right.
for that timing. But then like sometimes it's just about those special moments that's around you, right? So if you're shooting a child, for instance, right, you're doing a shoot with a kid who you have to be patient with,
Yeah.
just looking and anticipating when are they going to smile, are they going to have a break in between their cries, and that kind of timing is the thing that you have to practice. You have to anticipate, you have to learn. You have to also kind of like understand what the camera does and how it
Yeah.
works. Like understanding what all the values mean. How do they interplay with each other?
Yeah.
How do they balance each other off? How do you make sure that you have the right gear on you, have it in the right settings? But with that said, like, photography is all about kind of capturing those right moments, being cognizant of the moment, being in the moment and understanding what's going around you. Because ultimately, you don't need a fancy camera, to
Yeah. That's
take
why I
some
tell
great
everybody.
photos.
Yeah. Yeah.
The best camera that you have is the one in your hands.
Yep.
And I've taken some really great photography with my iPhone, or with my SLR. It doesn't matter. What matters is the subject and
Capturing the moments. Yeah.
get it in the right time. Yeah.
And would you say you're a portrait shooter, or you're a landscape, or
Like
just a hobbyist?
to be so I was my photography. To be fair, I haven't been practicing my photography as much as I would
Right.
like. But my favorite photography, I think, out of all the things that I would shoot, is sports.
Sports.
I've had a really great opportunity. I had a really great opportunity with going to Berkeley, that I was able to shoot for the newspaper, because that allowed me to be at a lot of different sports events. So for those who don't know, Berkeley is also known as Cal, right? When you think about the Pac-10, that's Cal, that's
The
Berkeley.
Bears.
Bears. So like Marshawn
Yeah.
Lynch, he was in school when I was in school. Deshaun
Yeah.
Jackson was
Deshaun
in
Jackson.
school.
Aaron Rodgers.
Javid Best, Aaron Rodgers, like all those folks like came from Cal. So I got to shoot a number of football games, against Oregon. There was one time I got to shoot a game against Maryland, and it was an away game. So I got to fly on the team plane with Cal, go to Maryland,
You went back home.
go back home, shoot that game, and then fly back. A funny story though is the summer right before that game, right before that semester, I actually took a couple classes at University of Maryland, and a lot of athletes would take summer classes as well. And I had a class with like 3 football players,
Oh, shit.
and one of whom was like their leader on defense. And I wore a Cal shirt one time, and they came up to me. He's like, "Yo, when you go back home, tell them we gonna whoop that ass."
Yeah.
So it was great too. Like we lost that game, but right after the game, I saw my buddy Dave from class. Like, "Yo, Dave!" Like, "Yo, what's good, man? What's good?" But yeah, shooting sports is a really fun thing for me to do. I had an opportunity to do it in LA too, just like here and there. My buddy, he worked on Dime. He worked at Dime magazine as a freelance writer, and he covered the NBA League. So if anyone's familiar, that's the Entertainers League.
Yeah.
Being in Los Angeles, you have all these celebrities, and they want to play their own kind of league rec games, right? So they would have celebrities play in this league. He played in the league as well with them, but I got to shoot for Dime and share my photos in one of their issues, and it was cool. Like I got to take photos of some artists that I grew up in, some artists that I knew. Silk the Shocker, he played in the
Silk the
league.
Shocker.
Do y'all remember the old Superman from like Clark Kent?
Oh yeah, Dean Cain.
Yeah, he
Dean
was in
Cain.
that league. PETA.
Dang, he played ball.
You remember PETA from Hunger Games? He was in that league.
He was in that too.
Yep. Kevin Hart. He
course.
played on. So he played on the team that my buddy was on.
Yeah.
He was wearing Jordans as well, and I got to shoot Chris Brown as well. I remember he was wearing a pair of Kobe's. But sports is my favorite. I think what I love about shooting sports is that it's just raw. You know, it's raw emotion. They leave it all out on the field, on the court. They're not worried about cameras, but what they do naturally, as far as their individual athleticism is concerned, is such a beautiful thing to watch and a beautiful thing to capture. And beside that, portraits. I do like doing environmental portraiture, so having people just out in the environment, not necessarily in a studio. But I have, we'll admit I have been slacking. But it's definitely great. It's a great passion.
Before we round out that question, tell us the gear that you have now. What type of camera you have now?
Yeah, I have. So from the Rebel, I then owned a Canon 40D. Then I owned a Canon 5D Mark II. Then I owned a 5 Mark III. Now I own a Mark IV. Interesting story though.
Some heavy gears you got there, man.
Yeah, interesting story though about the 5D series, the 5D Mark II, and I had that for a couple of years, and I would always carry my gear with me because I would sometimes just do like sporadic shoots with teammates or whatever. I usually kept the gear in my trunk. I was merging onto on the 10 in LA. And I was headed to dance practice, and I got rear-ended pretty badly, and all my gear, about $10,000 worth of gear, tripods, umbrellas, light setup, camera, lenses, all got destroyed.
Wow, dude, that's crazy.
Insurance didn't cover it because insurance only covers what's bolted to the car.
Yeah.
So I lost all that. I had to actually go into litigation in order to get some kind of money back.
Dang, that's crazy.
And then I bought a 5D Mark III. So with my 5D Mark III, I was doing a small little shoot as a birthday promotional thing for myself and a friend of mine. Shout out Carol, I got her into shoes. She might be listening to this. But we were doing a shoot outside my dance studio in San Francisco. And as we were reviewing photos, out of nowhere, someone grabs my camera, yanks it out of my hand.
Wow, that's crazy.
Sprinting. Like my first reaction is like, oh, hell no. Because at that point, I just had the camera for probably about less than a month.
Damn.
After going into years of litigation and to get that money, I think I waited like 4 years to get the camera again. I got my camera stolen, like taken from my hands less than a month. I ran after him, and then I saw him in our dance studios in a rough area. Right, and as soon as Sam turned the corner, I know what's over there. I was like, it ain't worth it.
Yeah.
Never got it again.
Yeah.
But like I saved up money, and then as soon as the 5D Mark IV came out, I copped that thing, and now it's tough to travel with because it is heavy.
Yeah. I
have a 7200 IS. This is the L. I have I have a 35 mil prime. I got a 24-70. I have 11 to 30 mil Takino lens, like one of
Okay.
the nicer lenses.
That's cool.
So I got a couple of things here and there, but what I don't have is external lighting, and
Okay.
it's because I don't do enough shoots to really warrant it
Right,
yet.
right.
Yeah, I still got my gear.
That's cool, man.
It's still fun to shoot around with.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's the perfect time, especially when we're all in quarantine. Like start rekindling with your photography, because I checked out your page like before. You have a homepage. It's still on. I like checked it out. Yeah, I was like, yeah, man, like you take great photos. So don't don't hinder it. Continue to rekindle that passion, because that was one of your first loves, like sneakers. So all it takes is just a single shoot, and then it goes from there.
I mean, like I shared this image before, but one of my favorite times of me shooting, I shot a concert for Wale. So obviously, like, we're from the DMV. I used to listen to Wale like
all the time.
All the time.
Studio 4-3 days. I had him. I had coded in my MySpace. I had that thing queued up.
Yeah.
And my buddy, like Ravi, y'all might know him too.
Yeah.
But Ravi, he knew Wale, and like while we were all living in LA, Wale came to House of Blues to perform, hooked up with Ravi, and Ravi was like, "Yo, you want to shoot his concert?" I was like, hell yeah. So I got to meet Wale in his tour bus. Got to dap him up or whatever they were playing. They were playing NBA 2K, and then we go out. We're on stage with his little entourage while he's performing. We're like behind him. So I got like this really great frame of him, in the light and in the fog. And I also got to see Meek Mill, that he was over there too. I think this is before their initial beef, but it was photography has definitely opened up some really interesting moments.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing. So another good segue to this. We see that you cycled. Cycling is also another passion of yours. We see that you cycled recently for 100 miles, which is an incredible accomplishment.
That's a big accomplishment.
So if you want to just share, how did you mentally prepare yourself, and how much of a physical toll did that take for you?
Yeah, I started cycling when I was in college. I used to ride fixed gear bikes, and because that's all I could afford. And I started to be like, oh, like this is really fun, just like being on a bike and just like learning your area. And then when I moved to LA, I stopped cycling because LA is not a cycle friendly town. Like it's rough, man. Like those potholes, like all the traffic, the way that some drivers are in LA, it's a tough place to cycle. But when I mentioned cycling to my boss when I first started in working in LA, he mentioned like, oh yeah, like are you gonna do a century? I'm like, what's that? It's 100 miles. I'm like, that sounds tight. Hell yeah, I want to do that. But then it was like kind of off my radar. But actually, just until recently, I've been on medical leave, and during medical leave, I was trying to make sure that from a mental and physical standpoint, I'm getting to a better place. And with that, my girlfriend and I were doing a very regimented exercise program. And part of it is you have to do an hour of cardio every day. And I was like, and then the first day we did it, he was like, all right, we could run in place for an hour. So we did that. I was like, yo, this shit sucks. Oh my God, my calves are en fuego right now. I cannot deal. Like, I still got my bike. Like, let's bring it out. I brought out my bike and I'm like, damn, like, I forgot how good this felt. And I made that into kind of a regular thing of me cycling. I was like, you know what? Like, this is a great time to really get into it like I wanted to get into it, right? Like, not only is the Bay Area really friendly for cyclists, but also I have more expendable income at this point. Like, I can afford a nice bike. I don't have to like settle for a $200 used joint that has one gear.
A Cannondale joint, you know what I'm saying?
But like, you know, I got a bike. I got a new bike, and I fell in love. You know, what it did is just like kind of opened up all these avenues to just like fitness.
Right.
I never really thought of myself as like and really following. But I think in order to make sure that I'm on a good progression, I made sure I had a goal. And harking back to that time in 2010 when my boss told me about Century for the first time, I'm like, that's always been on my bucket list. Like,
Yeah.
I wanna make that my North Star now. So, you know, I did, as I do with many of my passions, I get really deep into it. I get really deep in the forums, or you get really deep into YouTube. And I like learned a lot about the sport, what it requires from your body, how you should be training, you know, creating specific routes for myself, building myself up to a level of fitness that I can take on that challenge. And on the weekend before I was going back to work, which is also like close to my birthday, I was like, you know, I've been training pretty hard for a while, and I've been practicing, you know, food and nutrition while on the bike. I've been practicing going from 10 miles to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50 to 60 miles. I've been training with elevation gains from flat to over 5,000 feet of elevation in
Right.
the second ride.
Right.
You know, like I'm ready to do it. I'm ready to take it on. And I took a bunch of like different food with me: Cliff Bars, energy gels, energy chews. I brought like 3 bottles of water, added hydration mix to it, made a designated point that my girlfriend could meet me at mile 60 so I can refill all my stuff. And 6.5 hours on the
Jeez.
bike, 4,700 feet of elevation gain. I was able to do it. I was able to cross that off my bucket list. Now, this is actually still just training for me, because I am planning to do another Century ride next month, which is this is going to be an officially sanctioned event. Hopefully, it still happens.
Yeah.
A lot have been canceled, but this one hasn't been canceled so far. But there's a 100-miler in Marin, which is like the northern Bay Area, with almost double that elevation, so more than 8,000 feet of elevation, elevation gain. So that's what I'm training up for still. But mentally, I think it's exhilarating when you
Yeah.
see your numbers, you know, get
Go up.
higher
Yeah.
and lower, right? Like lower in time, higher in what you're able to accomplish, seeing your heart rate. It's a really addictive thing, kind of like anyone who's, you know, into weightlifting,
Yeah.
you know, seeing your gains there, seeing like, you know, your progress photos, measuring arms or legs, or looking at how much weight you're able to rack up. And like, it helps that I had like, you know, I just have like one earbud in, listening to
Yeah.
podcasts. And I was listening to y'all's podcast.
Hey, shout out! Put it out to them. Yeah.
I listened to Jalen and Jacoby. I listened to All the Smoke. I listened to Bodega Boys. So like it helps kind of mentally like keep you motivated. And then physically speaking, I was able to do enough training that at the end of it, I was tired. Don't get me wrong,
Right.
but I was like still good. You know what I'm saying? Like the next day, I was like, I don't feel that bad. And then the day after that, I was like, I'm back on the bike. I'm doing another ride. So.
That's wild. So you didn't feel any like soreness like when you lay down in bed, or?
Oh, I mean, like there was definitely soreness, like, but it wasn't like crippling, you know. Like my ass was sore for sure. Like,
Yeah, pretty sure that seat, man, it's like super pointy.
It's point. You got. If anyone is getting into cycling, just know that more padding doesn't actually mean more better, more comfortable. It's all about your sit bones and your physiology, your anatomy. But you know, thankfully I have a Theragun as well, so like able to massage it all out. You know, break up the scar tissue. It's definitely able to help with recovery. And I will say this: eating a plant-based diet, it really does help. Like when I moved between when I went from a regular omnivore diet to a plant-based diet, I was like, oh, like the transition is not bad. When I went back to a regular omnivore diet, just for like, you know, for when I went back to it, it's like, oh, like I feel like shit. Like
Yeah.
my symptoms backed up. I feel tired. But when I went plant based, like between workouts, I was able to get up and go. I had a lot of energy, and after like killing it in the gym, like I'm able to go back the next day, and I'm all right. I'm not even that sore. So there's a really great benefit for it as well.
Right. So would you say going vegan or plant-based really helped you, like with your cycling or?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely helped. I'm not sure if I would have had I don't know if I would have had the willpower
Yeah.
if I was still eating whatever I wanted to eat to try to diet and make sure that I was like eating the right things. I don't know if I would have that same kind of willpower.
Yeah.
But
So
I think
were you oh, sorry about that, but were you vegan first before the cycling or,
I was. So
Okay.
I recently hit my 2-year anniversary of
Yeah.
going plant based. Um, I'll share this story too. I think it's a funny one. I went vegan because I lost a bet.
What the
I
heck?
in one of our like in our first year of our relationship. My girlfriend's name is, funny enough, my girlfriend's name is Justine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Dang.
I know.
Hey, nice.
Uh,
Meant to be, man. Meant to
together,
be.
together
Put a
we
ring
are
on it, bro. Put a
together
ring.
we are we're the Justice League.
Yeah,
Um, but no, like we were going on a date and we went mini golf. Oh yeah, let's make things interesting. Like if you win, I'll go vegan for a week. If I win, I have so much time to think about this. I'm gonna win anyway. It doesn't even
yeah,
matter,
yeah.
right?
Damn, you
Because
were that confident.
I'm not gonna lose.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I choked so hard. By the end of the front nine, I was like, I'm gonna eat so many vegetables. Um, but like I lost by quite a bit of strokes.
Yeah.
But man, like it was nothing but it's been nothing but great. Like I've always been a bit of like a hefty boy growing up, but when I went plant based, I actually ended up losing about 20 pounds off of it.
Nice. Nice.
Whoa.
And my energy levels were great. My blood levels weren't. My cholesterol went down. My blood levels weren't affected in a negative way. And I
Wow.
was like, what? Like I've gone this far, and it's kind of like any progress that you make, right? You've
Yeah.
gone this far. Why go back?
Well, yeah, why go back?
Yeah.
Like, there's no point in going back. You just keep going at it. Like keep see how far you can go, and that's really what it was. Like I went back to a regular omnivore diet, and then we were about to go on a series of trips during the summer together. It was like when we're together, we would eat plant-based anyway, right? I do it, just to make it easy for courtesy too, so we could share food as well. I was like, we're going to be a lot of trips. Like, let's just see how long it'll go. And then what was another week turned into 2 weeks, turned into a month, turned into 3, turned into, I'm not stopping this. And I will absolutely share this with anyone who's willing to listen, because
Right.
I think it's fantastic. And I know people who's like, oh, I need my protein. Oh, I need my steak. I need this. I need
Yeah.
that. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'll miss
Yeah.
a steak. I watch a lot of food videos. I know, like, how to sous vide a steak. I know what that tastes like. I know how delicious Wagyu beef is. But it's, to me, at this point of how much progress I've made, it's not worth going back.
Yeah, man.
And I also understand, like, I crave these things only when I'm hungry. It's not, it's never when, like, like I'm full, like, oh, I could use a steak right now. It's like, no, it's like, I'm watching YouTube, I see a steak, I'm like, oh, I am hungry.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm looking at a steak and I'm being hungry about a steak, I just need to have a snack. So maybe I have some fruit, And don't fake. There's some really good vegan stuff out there.
I'm pretty sure.
Dude,
I'm pretty
we
sure.
talk about like crispy pata like vegan version.
Crazy.
We gotta put on that next time. If you
Yeah.
ever come visit to NorCal.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I'm gonna just switch it off because I know you touched base about like advice about living
Going to
from
California.
Maryland to California. So I'm gonna just switch it up a little bit. I also see that you're also passionate about, you were saying in the beginning about dancing. If you want to just maybe just touch a little bit on like how you got into it, and
Let's
you're
hear this.
very passionate, man.
Yeah, let's hear this.
So I don't know if like some folks in high school knew this about me, but I was in a ballroom dance group when I was in high school. So shout out to my crew, Hype 42. You know who you are. They're all still in the DMV actually, but I used to dance ballroom, and we would go to like these different Filipino events. We danced in the Filipino Independence Day parade.
Yeah.
Shout out Tucker Road.
Yeah, but it was fun. I didn't realize I liked dance that much though then, and I think what's interesting is if anyone knows the DMV too, it's also full of really amazing talent when it comes to, I mean, a lot of things, but dancers as well. So, America's Best Dance Crew, So You Think You Can Dance, have had a number of people from the DMV, really notable people from our community,
Right.
who were on those stages. And um, like I never really, I would always like compare my dancing to people in our area who's always really good to dancing. So it never really gave me an opportunity to blossom into this love and passion. I mean, I liked it, but I never really, you know, grew into it because I was never as good as those folks.
Right.
But I think that's what's really great about moving to a completely different place and not knowing anybody and having that discomfort. Because, in that discomfort, you really understand who you are, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and find out opportunities for growth. So when I moved to California, I was able to be my own self. When I was in college, Berkeley does this really great program called DECAL. So it's the democratic education in the sense of students get to facilitate their own classes. They get to have it on their rubric. And there might have been some stories out before in the news, like how Berkeley has a class about The Simpsons, or they have a class about 007 and that series. There's a class that I took. It was salsa. So I used to dance salsa when I was in middle school and high school, but I was like, you know what? Like, I still remember it. Like, I had fun doing it. Let me just like do it again. Like, let's see how it goes. And I did it again. I was like, when I don't have the expectations and people to compare myself with that I've grown up with around me, like I feel like I could really just express myself. And I found myself really like enjoying the dance for what it is. So I danced salsa then, and then that was my senior year of college. And then when I moved to LA, one of my classmates from that class, she then went to UCLA Law School. She was like, "Hey Justin, like I'm taking salsa classes at UCLA. Like, you want to join with me?" I was like, "Definitely, yeah, for sure." So, in order to go to the gym, I actually had to become a member of the UCLA alumni. This is kind of weird, but like I joined the alumni association just so I could take these classes, and I took more salsa classes. And then I was like, "Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm not bad at it. I'm kind of decent in it, you know." And I asked my parents to ship me my no, sorry, it was one of my visits. I got my old dance shoes from those days because they still fit. And from there, from those classes, I was introduced to the actual dance scene, the Latin dance scene. And the Latin dance scene is really popular in a lot of different places in the world. LA definitely being one of them. And they introduced me to salsa clubs. So I went to a salsa club, and I was like, whoa, like what happens at a salsa club is it's all people there, just a social dance. So you walk in, you ask a random person, it's like, "Hey, would you like to dance?" You dance a song, 2, 3, and then you keep it moving. You dance to someone else. And that just, it sparked something really great in me. And during that time too, I also had an opportunity through that class. I got introduced to a dance team. And I was like, oh, during that time in LA, and I talked about it earlier, like you have to find your community. I actually had a hard time the first 2 years I was living in LA. I felt like I didn't find, I mean, I had friends, but there wasn't a community that I really felt at home, right? Like they didn't feel like my homies from back home in the DMV.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have that sense of community. And I felt really lost, and for a long time I was like, I hate LA. I gotta move. Like I'm about to move to New York. Like I know more people in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And then I met this dance team, and we developed family and community there. And that community helped further that passion, and that passion just continued from 2012 until now. It's been nothing but fantastic. I've been able to perform with some really great people, perform in front of thousands of people, and be able to perform at different festivals, congresses. I've been paid, had paid gigs.
Nice.
I danced at, I was a performer at a wedding with some of my dance teammates, and that video became really viral on Instagram. So like I'd have people like tagging me that don't even know my dance background, and like, Justin, is that you? Like, yeah, that's definitely me.
Yeah.
And I've had an opportunity to teach in various places, but it's a really great passion of mine. It's a way to meet people from different backgrounds, different cultures, and really understand, where they're coming from, and the Latin culture and how rich it is. Coming from DMV, I think depending on which pockets where you're at, it could be really Filipino. The Black community is incredibly strong there.
Yeah.
But I didn't get a big opportunity to really interact with the Latinx community.
Yeah.
But being in LA and now in the Bay, I've had an amazing, experience learning about the culture, learning about the history, learning about the dance, and making some incredible lifelong friends in the process. So, but it's been great, man. It's been really fun. So we still practice. Hopefully, Latin dancing will come back. Quarantine has definitely been tough.
Yeah.
You can't necessarily get it being in a closed space, in close proximity, right next to someone that breathing on you.
Yeah.
It's definitely, not okay.
Even with a mask.
Yeah, even with a mask.
With a
exactly.
mask. That's
You got
so
all that
ridiculous.
sweat. Like it's not the time, but I'm hoping
definitely
that
been annoying.
definitely.
You got to be more
hoping
than 6 feet. You know what I mean?
It's hard. It's hard,
Yeah,
but
man.
I'm hoping that we can dance again soon.
Yeah.
Of course. Definitely. Especially when all this stuff is done. You guys will, hopefully it'll be back to normalcy.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
All right.
So yeah, man. Going back to your first passion, man. We're saving this for the last, but we see the boxes and the cases behind you, but let's show us your top 5 sneakers, man.
Okay. All right. So not in a specific order.
So, yeah, it doesn't matter.
But, so my 5 favorite shoes. This is hard. And I've been thinking about this for a long time too. Like even before your podcast, I would watch sneaker battles on Complex. I'm like, damn, what would I bring out? Like, like what would be the dealer's choice?
No competition. This is for you, bro.
Yeah. But I know that some people watching and listening to this definitely have like bigger collections than me, but like, you know what? I buy what I like and I buy what I can.
That's the key. That's the key.
Yeah.
One of my top 5, Spirit On.
Hey.
OG colorway.
OG colorway. Interesting story about these. At first, I didn't like them. I remember I was in California when they retroed them prior. And then my Neil, the one who got me into shoes, he was like, man, you get those Spirit Ons? I was like, oh, man, those aren't big. And then I kept looking at him. I was like, fuck, those are really nice. And then I had a chance to go through his collection. His collection was super deep. He sold a lot of it now, but he would have like doubles, triples of a lot of stuff. But he had a pair of OG Concord Spirit On. So it's like purple, and that would never retro, but that made me fall in love with the shoe. So when I heard the shoe was coming back out in 2016, my boss at the time, he was, and this was at Google, he came from Nike. He was actually,
wow.
He had a lot to do with the openings of Nike labs around the world. So, I was like, I gotta get this shoe. He's like, do you know anyone who can make sure that help me get this shoe? And he's like, I got you. Like he knew the manager back at the Nike lab, 21 Mercer, and he was able to reserve a pair for me.
Nice.
So I got this pair. Yeah.
You know they got Air Force Ones, right? You got the Air Force One version.
Oh yeah, I know that. I saw those. I'm like,
That's the both worlds, bro. I'm just saying.
Like, so I remember looking at those, like, it's a different kind of thing. I do love Air Force Ones, but only, like when Jordan did the Jordan Air Force Ones, it just
Those
wasn't
were
the same.
weird.
It just didn't hit right. It's not that.
Them 12s are weird, man. Those mids.
Yeah.
Uh,
Those Jordan 5 joints, the
Yeah.
threes,
The
those were
Fusion
weird.
Air Force Ones.
Yeah,
Yep.
oh my
Yep.
God, I could go on and on
Came
and
out
on.
with the playoffs and the taxis. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I probably saw like a couple of those pairs at Sporty LA, like in the deep racks. If anyone knows about Sporty LA back in LA. The next pair of shoes is an ID. There's this really great brand, Maharishi. They're actually they're UK based, but they draw a lot of inspiration from old military style. Had an opportunity to ID these. These are
those are cool.
Yeah, so these are Maharishi Air Force Ones.
Oh man, I thought those were vandals, bro.
Oh, it's canvas.
They kind of look like canvas
like vandals,
vandals. But like I love this shoe. Like I was able to design it in collaboration with my best friend Davis.
Yeah.
And he was also a bit of the plug too, because like we both entered a raffle. Before the ID hit, they had like a limited run of just like production pairs that they made. I hit on a raffle. He hit on the raffle too, but they messed up on his order, so they weren't able to fulfill. Wow. And they ended up giving a voucher for the ID when it was able to come up. So it was my birthday. Like he was like, "Yo, dude, you know what? I know you were gonna make an ID anyway, and you love the shoe. Let me just give you the voucher." And then we collaborated on like the design. But if you see here, it's a tiger instead of a swoosh.
Yeah.
On the lateral. A lot of it is redacted, right? So redacted here, but I wanted to carry on that theme with the black strap.
Yeah.
I wanted to have like the white label to let it pop off. Cream midsole with the gum outsole. Had to. Gold hits, cream hits. And then on the Dubray, for those who don't know, that's the thing that's in the front. I have my initials, JG, and then my best friend's initials, DL, Davis Sariaga. So
man, those are sick.
Yeah, so those are sweet.
Like these have a lot of meaning to me. Like whenever I wear this shoe, I think about him.
Yes, sir.
I was actually consulting him earlier today. I was like, "Yo, like, what do you think I should wear?" So there's that. I'll break out this pair. So. I met Dandin I remember we met at a party. It was like near the outlets in near Leesburg. I remember like
Jesus Christ.
I remember because that's when Leesburg outlets first opened, and we went there on the way to this party. So I get to the party, and I see Dandin, and he's wearing Jedis. I'm like, oh,
my SB joints.
And that was like what? That was a silver box, right?
Yeah, silver box. Yeah.
So like that was like really still premature SB days, and like I see those like, oh my god, like I haven't seen those in person. I've only seen those like online. I have those.
That was your reaction too. You're like, yo, I'm Justin. Roll the news.
For sure, and like I think at that time already, I had these. Haze lows. That was part of our conversation. Is like you had the Haze highs, I bought the Haze lows. These also have a very big sentimental value to me. These were the first pair of shoes that I waited in line for. I was visiting California at the time. We're in Orange County. It was at this store that's no longer there called Carve in downtown Fullerton. We were just walking around the day prior, and then we walked past it. It was closed at the time. But then there was like, I see this, I see the Haze High, I see the M&M, the BWs, the Air Max BWs, and then I see the Air Dirties, right? The Nelly joints.
Nelly joints.
Yeah.
So I saw all those pairs, and there was like, we're selling it tomorrow. I was like, oh my god! Like I've been fantasizing about the shoe. I had so many shoes, so many pictures of the shoe saved on my desktop. Yeah. In my pictures folder in my PC.
Right.
And I was like, this is the shoe that I've been wanting to get for so long. So we get there, we wait in line. I get to meet some other sneakerheads. I was fortunate enough to get this. Like, I think the person before me was my size, but he wanted the high. I was like, dude, I want the low. He's like, bet, easy. But I got these. My dad waited in line with me. Really, really love these. I've had these since high school, and I keep these fresh. I wear them here and there, but they're also kind of small. But I make it work. But this is a high sentimental.
Yeah, they're worth a lot now, especially like the dunk craze now.
It's coming back, man. It's coming back.
How much are they up now?
I saw on Instagram someone was selling a DS pair, the regular box, for $1,600.
Yeah, but you have the special box though, right?
I don't have the special box. They didn't sell the special box. I didn't give a shit. I was like, look, they're gonna be on my feet. Yeah. As long as I have the shoe, I don't care what the box looks like. As long as I get it, I'm good. Yeah. The next shoe is for our culture. Anyone who's, I mean, you might see it on my Instagram. I think I have an old photo of it. I mean, I've been a long time Manny Pacquiao fan, you know, and I have one of his shoes. Now,
hey, there you
this
go.
shoe is a special one. So Manny has had a number of Nike shoes before he lost his deal with Nike.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But right, like when he fought Hatton, he knocked his ass out cold and quick.
Cold.
Yep.
And in commemoration of that, they made a special kind of shoe and a special kind of line called the Lights Out line, right? So I was at, they only sold this at Nike Town, San Francisco. And, you know, it was a raffle only and like actual tickets, and we drew tickets, and by God, I got the only, you know, like size 11 there. So this is the Nike Trainer 1.
Yeah, Trainer 1.
Lights out. And these are pretty ill.
Those glows in the dark too.
They glow in the dark. So this glows in the dark. The laces glow in the dark. The stitching glows in the dark. The insole is really dope. It has a little Manny Pacquiao joint over there.
Yeah.
On the bottom of the sole, it has the date of the fight. It has the time that he knocked Hatton out. It came with 2 other pairs of laces. I told myself, I'm not wearing this until he fights Mayweather. And sure enough, when he fought Mayweather, that was the first time I broke it out. That was obviously not a great fight for us Pacquiao fans, but you know, it was still like the time I had. I was like, I'm not undsing these until he fights that dude. If he doesn't fight him, I'm okay with just keeping this. So have this guy. And then the last pair of shoes I'll share is one I got last year. This one I never thought I would buy. I never thought I would get because I just never thought it'd be like kind of attainable or at a price. I don't know if y'all could see that. That says to Don C, signed Stash. And these are this is a promo pair.
Damn. Wow. Yeah.
This is a shoe for Don C, and this is the Stash Air Force One.
Nice.
That's sick.
Wow.
One
night only. So so this shoe has come out a couple times, right? So initially it came out at Nort, which is Stash. Like Stash had his store, and there were like 3 editions. I think it was New York, a Tokyo, and a London. And they had like a clear bottom. Then they re-released this shoe, you know, just a couple years later in a super limited run. Just a couple, I think, just barely over 100 pairs made of this shoe. For a Nike event called One Night Only.
Right.
And they had this is the shoe that released. And then it released again in a slightly varied colorway for Complex Con a few years ago. That one was an all white pair with like less gray. But I was able to cop this pair in Seattle. I think the store is Souls 209 if anyone's in Seattle, but I caught that pair. I saw it in the glass. I'm like, yo, how much for the Stashes? Like, I mean, I'm just generally curious. Like, I'm not gonna be able to buy them. Generally curious. He was like, 400. I was like, what size are they? Like 10.5. I'm like,
oh,
Whoa, that's no hesitation right there.
I was like, I tried
Yeah.
it on. I was like,
And you tried it on from the glass case. It was meant
I
to
tried.
be.
It was like on the mat, like they put it on the mat, right? Like I could only step in the mat, but I tried on the shoe. I was like looking at it. I was like, it was either these or I think the Hong Kong Air Force Ones, the green ones, or I forget which. I think it's Hong Kong. But like I was looking at it. I was like, I can't not look at them. And then I asked him. I was like, hey, you know what? This is a consignment. Would he be willing to do 375?
Dang.
And he called him up, he talked to him. I told him, I was like, I'm gonna take good care of him, don't worry. And he let it go for 375. So I think that's an absolute steal.
Yeah.
Like, one, you can hardly find a DS pair in this size from this edition. And this is for Don C. The box is signed from Stash himself.
Yeah. Right.
You know? So I thought it was an amazing pickup. I will say, an honorable mention though. So I don't have it because I sold it,
Ooh.
and I'm kind of kicking myself for selling it. Y'all talk about player prices.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you'd be able to beat this player price.
Let's hear it.
I was with my best friend Davis, and we were in Japan, and we would go to all these different shops, especially the secondhand shops. Secondhand shops always have like something ill, right? Like Japanese brands, long heritage of just being ultra dope. We walk into this one store, I think in what was it, Shinjuku, but we were there, and I remember we both like saw it around the same time. The bottom rack, it was a cream colored pair of Dunks. We run to it, pick it up. It's the Tokyo Dunk.
Oh shit.
What?
So the Tokyo Dunk, for those who don't know, right? It's part of the series that the Pigeon Dunk was part of. The London Dunk with the Thames Bridge was part of. It was the Tokyo one was part of that series, and the Paris Dunk, and each one of those pairs were tied to the White Dunk exhibit, which is an art exhibit that challenged artists to take the white dunk silhouette and make them into art pieces. And to commemorate each of those galleries, they had a special pair of shoes. The Tokyo is the one for Tokyo, and that was only given out at that event. I think it was only to like raffle.
Right.
I think there were less than 500 pairs made, if anything, maybe even just 300. Super, super rare shoe for anyone who's into SBs. Like that's OG, triple OG, It didn't come with a box, but the lace bag was still attached. It was dead stock. But it had aging in the midsole and like a slight stain on the toe. But it was a size 10, and I could fit a size 10.
Yeah.
And it was $80.
Wow.
$80. $80 for the Tokyo Dunk. So auto cop for sure.
Yeah, of course.
I triple bagged that thing. Like the last day we left Japan, it was like raining like hell. Like triple bagged that thing. Made sure no water went into it.
Yeah.
And I copped. I was like, oh my God, like I have this piece of shoe history. Thing is, that was 2015 when that happened, right? SBs they tanked super hard. But I kept it, and I was like, oh, if ever I go to SneakerCon or any event, like maybe I'll wear it. And that never really came about. But then I always looked at it, I was like, I don't even know if I could bring myself to wear it. And like, if I can't bring myself to wear it, why do I have it?
Yeah.
Why do I have it in my possession? The thing is, like, the shoe itself, the color code, the colorway is muslin. So muslin is kind of the fabric that you use in paint canvas, right? So it collects dirt and like outside elements really easily. You put your shoe, you go to the bathroom with that shoe, boom, like game over,
You got stains all over that thing.
Exactly. You don't want that on such an shoe. So it's tough to keep. It's cream colored. It's tough to keep clean.
Yeah.
Like look, like SB's dead, and maybe I just don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
So I ended up selling it, at and I shopped it around different consignment shops here in the Bay. A lot of shops were like, I can't sell SB. Like no one's buying SB. I can't take it.
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah.
And I went to Riff SF, and they knew about it. They're like, oh shit, you got this? Oh fuck. And then I listed it for 1,200. So
That's a flip.
it's a flip. I mean, like, ultimately, it ended up. So, like, as soon as I put it out there, already there was a buyer who
Wow.
came in, like, probably the 2 days later, and was like offering 900. I'm like, I'm not in a rush to sell it. I don't need the money right now, so like, I'll let it pass. I ended up like selling it for 1,100. Now, fast forward to now,
Yeah. So
size 10. I saw on StockX is going for $20,000.
Yep.
So I'm like, God damn it! But you know, whatever. At the end of the day, like I had a shoe. I took photos with the shoe. I
Yeah.
took photos with a similar shoe I have is a Nike Dunk High Undefeated, which is like an all white with a gum bottom. Similar shoe. Like it does a similar thing. Like it's
Yeah.
okay. I don't need it, but am I kicking myself right now? I was like, hell yeah, I'm kicking myself right
Yeah,
now.
it's 20,000.
10% of what it's worth now.
Shit, man. But I always love that story because like, you know, it's just like it's that hunt. It's just it makes it so
Yeah.
fun. But you know, and I got a cool story out of it, but
Yeah.
and it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like I said, what's most important is that you obtained the shoe, you got it, you shared the story with the shoe. You know,
Yeah.
that's something like you'll always like you'll always cherish with you forever. Especially like now that you have this platform with us, and then with other platforms too, like with other sneaker like heads or whichever, you'll always have that story to tell, which is we appreciate like you did tell that. So
So that's some good stuff you got there, man. So it's always good to share your stories, man, especially with the shoes, man. You know, like that's like our big passion for everything. It always starts off with that, and then we just branch out of it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So with that being said, man, our last question. Well, not really, but it's time to flip the switch now. It's time to ask us a question if you got any.
Oh, for sure. So I got a couple questions for y'all, but like one of the big questions that I have for you guys is obviously y'all are up for player prices and you guys do the hunts and whatnot, but obviously there are gonna be those shoes that get away, right? And I have those memories too, like Samba dunks. I should have gotten those when I was at New York City years and years ago. Now they're re-releasing like Lightning 17s. I saw at Shoe City. Eastover, I saw them on sale. I should have bought those then.
Yeah.
White and red Jordan 8s. I had a chance to get them. I didn't get them. I ended up getting a pair of Air Flight 89s. Cool.
Damn, I had
like,
those.
wow.
I had those too, man. Cool gray Flight 89s, man. I had those.
I couldn't get the 9s. I couldn't get the 11s, but I'm gonna take this. I like the colorway, but I should have gotten the 8s.
Yeah.
Black toe Jordan 1s. I had an opportunity to get those for $240 after I struck out at the line and whatnot. Air Max 1 Canada, the 6s, the ones that came out with All-Star Weekend. I had an opportunity to get those under 200. But what are shoes that y'all just like the ones that got away?
Good, real.
Yeah, man. So I just said like his question, so it's time for you to answer now. So just
Oh,
edit
did
all
we
this
do?
out. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go to me.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, like
so,
the stuff that got away. The stuff
all
that
right,
got away.
One shoe when I moved out here got away. I was pissed as hell. All right, so mad. All right, so I was like, yeah, I bought a house. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like, then went to the mall. So I want to I saved up all my money. I sold it. Like, I sold 2/3 of my shoes to get this house. So you know what? Like, I think I deserve like a pair of shoes. So I went to like a Foot Action like near my local mall, and then I think it was what year did the Jordan ones come out? The
16.
the Shadows.
13.
13, so 2013. So like, you know what? Yeah, like 2 years in, like buying a new home. Like, yeah, I think it's time for me to buy some shoes. So like, you know, I was just like looking around, and then I was like, hey, you know, I looked at Foot Action. I saw like, oh, like they got the Shadow ones like on display, like they got my size. Cool. I was like, you know what? I kind of like these Bordeaux like mid Jordan ones. I think I'm gonna just
Oh
cop these
shit!
instead. I
Dang,
was
dude.
like, I did a Bama move, a straight Bama
Damn,
move.
dude.
I was like, you know what? I think it was like, you know what? It's like your mentality, right? Like I got too many Jordan ones, right? So like
Yeah.
I got black toes, I got, you know, black and red ones, I got Royals. I'm gonna branch out and just get mids. So I passed on
You pass on the
Shadow ones,
shadows to
Shadow
get
ones
mids.
to get mids. All
Come
right,
on, bro. Come on,
that's a
bro.
straight Bama move. A Bama move. All right, so I was like, all right, I was like, you know what? I don't know. In that state of mind, I didn't know like what I was thinking about when I was doing that. And then to this day, like every time, like that's why I can't buy like a pair of Shadow Highs, man. Because like I had the '08 ones, the suede ones,
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
and I was
yeah, yeah.
like, yeah, I was like, to this day, I can't see myself buy like another pair. I mean, I have the Shadow One lows, but every time like I look at them, like the Shadow One high, I'm like,
Like you could have had them joints
you dumb idiot! Like you got some
for some
Bordeaux
mids.
mids. You got some Bordeaux mids. Cause like I was like, oh damn, I got the Bordeaux sevens, man. I'm gonna get these Bordeaux ones, cause you know, like
Yeah,
kind of like match a little bit.
yeah.
I was like a straight Bama move, like
Ah,
yeah. So that was my regret.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
So,
Actually,
go ahead.
no, go.
No, go ahead. Morel, did you want to touch in with what you were saying earlier?
No, I was just saying everything that I like I regret not getting. I always find a way to get it. That's just my goal, man. Like I can't just live without it. So anything that I gotta do, I'm gonna do what it takes to get that shit back. So
Okay.
Yep. It's a mental. It's
it's
a
just my
mentality.
thing, man.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
I can't let it walk, man.
It's like one of them like it's like a scoring girl. You know what I'm saying? Like damn, she's that one chick
Yeah,
that hot ass chick in high
yeah,
school that you always want to holler at.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And then like
yeah.
you want to like get back with
The
her.
one that got away, man. The
And
one that
then
got
like she's all retro 2020, baby.
away. All right.
All
Single.
right. Yep. Listen, thank you so much for taking the time. Yeah, it's great to know more about what your passions are with dancing, cycling, your current, you know, your job at Google, your love for sneakers. I mean, those really tie in into to the person that you are.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just want to say thank you for having the opportunity to get to know you more on a personal level.
Yeah.
So we definitely appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate the time and the platform to speak. This was an absolute joy.
Yeah.
Love talking to y'all. Talking to people from the DMV. It fills my heart with a lot of joy.
Yeah.
Like whenever I hear it's like, oh yeah, I'm from the DMV too. It's like, oh what?
Yeah.
And then, but
Yeah.
it means even more when you're from
Yeah.
PG.
Yeah.
Exactly.
When you're from PG, it's like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, I rock with you now. It's like, you're not
Yeah.
okay, Super Spring, like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
whatever. Or like I'm from like Reston. It was like, oh, okay, all right, cool.
Right,
Like,
That's
you
cool,
bro.
I'm
You
not
cool, bro.
knocking you. Oh,
Yeah.
McLean, like, okay, rep Tyson's corner.
Yeah, Tyson's corner.
Yeah.
But PG County, like
It's
Yeah.
talking to
alright,
PG
bro,
County folks,
yeah,
like it's all love.
yeah.
I'm super thrilled to be part of this. Thank you.
All
Yes,
right.
sir.
Well, that being said, thank you so much. This is Dandin,
Sorry, Machismo, man.
and we got Justin. Thank you so much.
Shout out IG Justgphotography.
There it
There
is.
you go.
If you that's JUSTG photography. If you and I also want to take this time to as a platform because when I graduated college, I didn't necessarily. It was a hard time for me to get into marketing and advertising. So I want to reach out to anyone too. Like if you're thinking about moving to California and you need some advice, if you are trying to get into advertising, you're trying to get into marketing, if you want to learn more about what it's like to work on an agency side or work on the client side, what it's like working at Google, if you want to talk Latin dance, dance is a universal language. It's given me the opportunity to meet people from all around the world who I don't even share a common language with. If you want to talk about photography, cycling, I am here. Like I want to be a resource for
Sir.
anyone who wants it. So
There we go. Hit them up,
All right.
guys.
He needs
Yes,
a pair
sir.
of Black Cement 3s, 10.5.
Yeah.
hey,
Don't
hey,
forget about that. He needs
Yeah,
them.
don't forget
Thanks.
that. Yeah.
All right, guys. See you on the next podcast. Peace, guys.
All right, man.
Hey.